I felt that song was so appropriate for us here in the UK. Our weather has been absolutely terrible, but you know, Chris is going to bring in a ray of sunshine for us right now. So let's put you on speaker view.
All right. Well, again, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And I must thank your friend Noel Bradley.
Yeah.
So he's the one that told me about your music. And he says it's an artist that I should check out. And so when I did check it out, I was like, actually, I've played your music before. So it's just a pleasure to have you here with us at the Smooth Jazz Lounge.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's better. I'm trying to do a million things at the same time. So we are now live on Facebook. So let's get this started. Let's speak about you, Chris. So you was born where?
Panama City, Florida.
That's
which is where I currently live. Yeah. But I was a military kid, so moved around a bit and eventually made it back here.
Okay. So I guess, where was you in the military? I saw that you was in Germany for part of that time.
Yeah, my dad was Air Force, so we lived over there in my younger years for a few years.
Mm-hmm. And did you like Germany?
I did. You know, I have, even though I was really little, I have some really good memories there. It was neat. For the first part, we lived off base, and we had, you know, German landlords. It was farm country. We had cows for neighbors, but we did a lot of cool things on the weekends. There's a lot of castles. There's a lot of stuff there to see, and so I remember going and doing a lot of that sightseeing and apple orchards and things like that on the weekends with my parents. And then we moved on base eventually, and the school I went to was behind our complex, and so I walked to school. But had some German teachers for sure, and so I definitely spoke a lot more of it when I was a kid. You know, I don't remember it now, but when you're a kid, you soak that stuff up as a kid, and it's just one of those things. That's something I wish that America did better, was taught foreign languages. You know, so many other countries, you know, they implement that into the curriculum, and so many other countries are bilingual, trilingual, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's broken English, they speak, most countries, they speak a little bit, and that's just something here in America we're not good at. So but yeah, it was neat as a kid to have that experience. You know, so many people I know never even leave the country, you know, or some people never even leave their state. So it was neat to I'd love to go back one day.
And did you travel around more of Europe, or was it just Germany?
We did, but Germany, you know, as a kid, being that I lived there, that's what I remember most.
So you've not been to London?
Traveled a lot. So no, not that I know of. So
okay.
We'll have to change that.
Yes, that is going to happen. Do not worry. I think we're going to have a lot of fans at the end of this, and we have to get you over here to perform. Yeah. So I can't believe you don't speak German. I was expecting you to speak German fluently.
Nein. No sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Ich heiße DJ Sapphire. That's what I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all about it. And so you started playing the sax at the age of 12?
Yeah, I was middle school band. We were in Charleston, South Carolina at that point. That was the last base my dad was stationed at. So I started middle school band in sixth grade, um, kind of against doctor's orders. I was the asthmatic kid, so yeah, from the as far as back as I can remember, I had a rescue inhaler that had to go with me everywhere I went. And actually, in Germany, started on a little different corticosteroids and things to keep my asthma under control. In Europe, there's some different things they were experimenting with that they weren't really doing in the States, and that helped me a lot. I was on a lot of different medications. My asthma was really bad, and cold climates can be bad for asthmatics. And one of the benefits of living in Florida is it doesn't really get too cold here.
Yeah.
But I just know when we were in Germany, and just cold bothers people with lung problems. But I was on a lot of medications for that, and but you know my parents were big music buffs, and it made me really want to play the saxophone. There's particular sax players getting really popular in the 80s that my parents were really big fans of, that through inception made me want to play the saxophone. And by the time I was old enough to start playing the sax, we were living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was going to start a band. So that's what I really want to do. But again, all my life I've been told I couldn't do this or that. I couldn't play these sports. I couldn't do this in PE. I had doctor's notes with, nope, he can't do this, he can't do that. And, and they were just so worried about exacerbating my asthma. And so when I said, I want to play the saxophone, I thought surely I could be one of these nerdy band kids, that doesn't require a lot of physical activity. But they're like, no, you need to do something else. That's going to be too much for your asthma. And they said, you won't be able to do that. Like, what can I do then, So it was a bit frustrating. And it's what I wanted to do. So I finally said, no, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try it and give it my best shot, And so my parents did the rent-to-own plan. They weren't sure if I was going to stick with it, and saxophones are really expensive if you've ever looked into it. So they said, let's try this out, and it was difficult for sure. Started sixth grade. But ultimately, I gave it to God. I asked God to bless it and know that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so I did. And that was sixth grade. By eighth grade, I was the first year sax player in middle school band. I was also the only saxophone player in eighth grade. So there's also that.
Wow.
The first year by default, But no, it was fun. I've been playing ever since.
And so what age is eighth grade?
Eighth grade, for me, I was 14.
14.
So, yeah, I turned 15 going into high school.
And is this when you entered was it a talent competition at school?
That was my senior year of high school. Yeah, no, that was when I was graduating. I was 18 at that point.
So you've been playing sax for quite a while at this time.
Yeah. So kind of under the radar. So, there's been so many teachers that helped me along the way, and even back to middle school. My last year in middle school in eighth grade, we got a new band teacher, and it was his first year teaching band. He was an older gentleman. I'm not sure what he did before that, but it was his first year teaching band. And his name was Mr. Espinosa. I've never been able to find him since. But he was new to the school, and the students really walked all over him. He was a pushover, and he's like, look, if you guys don't want to do band concerts and things like that, if you just don't want to play, then you can use this as a study hall. But I'm here to teach you if you want to learn. But if you guys don't want to learn, then it's really hard for me to do my job. And so literally, I was the only student there that's like, yeah, actually, I want to play, So literally, he worked with me one-on-one every day while the rest of the kids in class were like doing homework and throwing paper airplanes or whatever.
Oh my God.
So he brought his alto sax, and we just worked on music. It was like we tuned everything out. It was just me and him, and that was my last lesson I've had was eighth grade. It was hands-on, and by high school. I wasn't able to be in band because my guidance counselor sat me down and said, what do you want to do when you grow up? You know, and of course, by ninth grade, we've got it figured out. We know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So insert sarcasm there.
Yeah.
Me, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. You know, my dad was military, and I watched a lot of Top Gun as a kid.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be Tom Cruise Maverick, and so I was going to go fly stuff and blow stuff up. That was just what I was going to do. And so my guidance counselor says, you need to do JROTC, the Air Force ROTC, and see what you think of it. And I said, okay. But you couldn't be in band and ROTC. It was one or the other. The two electives, they took up too much time out of the curriculum. So I said, well, that makes the most sense for my future. So I decided not to do band and do ROTC instead. Oh. And I did 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, just to find out going into my senior year that you can't go in the military with asthma, which I have a very well documented asthma history. Nice. So that would have been nice to know. Yeah. You know, going into 9th grade, I could have been in band. But God has a sense of humor, you know, and he knows what he's doing. And the whole time I'd been playing saxophone at my church, even though I wasn't in band, I never put the saxophone down. I was still playing at my church, like 3 or 4 services a week. So I kept my saxophone chops up, and I was playing in a way that they didn't give me music. I had to figure it out and play by ear and ad lib and all these things that were requiring a lot more skill set and learning than I would have just playing sheet music. And so it was kind of the school of hard knocks. And so all that to say, that what I learned in 8th grade really helped me out. I tried to go back and find him. Even a few years ago, we went back there, and the school like has no record of him. It's so weird. One of those, like the Bible talks about entertaining angels in disguise. It was almost one of those things. He was put there for me. I have no doubt about it. But other than his last name, I don't know how to find. Even with Facebook, like, you know how many Espinosas there are out there.
Oh, there are a lot.
Like, yeah, so
there's only one.
Yeah, really. So yeah, very, very unique name. So
yeah,
I don't know. So anyway, I've never been. But if he ever sees this, thank you, Mr. Espinosa, for everything. But God has put a lot of amazing people in my path, and one was a choir teacher I had in high school. Even though I wasn't able to do band, you know, I was able to get into choir since I dropped out of ROTC when I found out I couldn't go in the military. My 4th year, I said, well, there's no point in continuing here. So I went into choir is the only thing I could get into, and I'm not a vocalist. I wish I could sing. I really do. That's really what I wanted to do more than play the sax, but it's just not the gift that I was given. So we work with what we've got, you know. So she was very grateful. She knew that I wasn't a singer, but she needed bodies, you know. It's hard to get guys to sing. It's not cool. So not in school anyway. It's cool if you're really good at it, but anyway, it's made fun of in school. So but she's like, hey, I know you're really good at playing the sax. I'm not even sure. I don't even know. Her name is Miss Johnson, Janet Johnson. She was on my Facebook Live about a week and a half ago, and I don't know if I think she heard me at a church or something, because I played a lot of churches even in high school, and so she's signed me up for the talent show. She's like, you're gonna do this. You need to do this. I didn't want to do it because I was a nobody in school. People didn't know. They definitely didn't know I played the sax. They didn't. I was very, very much made fun of by the jocks. I was called a lot of mean names.
Why?
And so you know, it's one of those. Why do people do what they do? We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was this scrawny white kid that just, I don't know. I wasn't on sports, so I wasn't in the in crowd, you know, with the football jocks and the cool people, and I was smart. I made good grades. So let's make fun of the successful people. You know, we've got to do that. So, you know, he's got a 4.0 GPO. Oh, he can't be cool, you know? So, and also I like to dress nice. Always, the middle school I went to, we had uniforms. So I had to wear dress button-up shirt and slacks and all that. So when I got to high school, it was free range, but I didn't know what to wear. So I just I didn't wear a uniform, but I'm just like, okay, I'm going to wear some dress pants, you know, and a nice shirt. I thought I don't know. So people, they called me all kinds of names, none of which were nice.
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But well, no, it's okay. Everybody else did. No, no. It's just one of those things that I guess, I mean, it comes down to insecurity. They were insecure about themselves, so they just passed that on
Yes.
to try to pass it on to me. But the ironic thing was they called me gay and fag and all these things
Oh.
that weren't true. But it was just one of those. It was ironic because all the people around me were girls. Like the girls were the ones that were talking to me, so I almost felt like it was a jealousy thing. Like,
Yeah, that's
like,
exactly what it was.
okay, so okay, the girls are talking to me, so like, oh, let's make that. Yeah. So just one of those things. But all that to say, like putting me in front of the whole school to do a talent competition was not something I was really looking forward to, under
Yeah.
that circumstance. But my teacher's like, no, this is what you really need. And I'm so glad she signed me up. She told, by the way, I signed you up for the talent show. You're gonna play the saxophone, have a song prepared. And so I did. And there was the cool kids that had the rock bands, and there was some really good vocalists, and I don't know, there was like some miming and some different dances and things like that. And then I went and I played a church song, and nobody even, again, other than a couple of my close friends, knew that I even played the saxophone.
Hmm.
And so everybody was just like, they were like in awe, but I wasn't really paying attention to that because I had my eyes closed the whole time.
No.
So
This is
and then they had
heartbreaking.
everybody, all the performers, all the performers came out at the very end, and we all stood up there and they announced the third, second, and first place winners, and I wasn't announced at third or second. And at that point, I just tuned it out because I knew that I didn't win. I was pretty sure I bombed, and then they called my name, but I didn't hear it because I had already made up in my mind that I wasn't winning. So I don't know, I was thinking about what I was going to eat that night or something. I don't know. Really, I was thinking about how far away I could run from there, I think. But then apparently they called my name again. I still, to this day, I didn't hear it. And everybody around me is looking at me, shaking me like, hey, congratulations. And then they had to say my name again before I really understood what was going on. And they brought this huge basket. I've never won anything, keep you in mind, other than this. So they brought this huge basket. I felt like I'd won the lottery. It was full of a bunch of Belgian chocolates, which I love, different sodas. It was
Hmm.
sponsored by Buffalo Rock, Pepsi company. And there was a bunch of movie tickets in there. Popcorn. There was a whole bunch of cool stuff. My parents have a picture of it
Oh.
still, but I was just so excited. I'm like, wow, I won something. So that was neat. And then people started calling me Kenny G after that the rest of the school year. And but it was much better than what they were calling me, so I
Yeah.
accepted it with open arms. So I went with that. But what that really inspired me was the performing arts. I'm like, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe I have a future in this since I can't do the military thing.
Hmm.
And so I just started pursuing that. Yeah, I at that point I said I need to record a demo CD. I told my parents, like, who's like. I said, I just got to put something out there. So I recorded it. Some church music. I was playing churches and doing, I'd come for a love offering and whatever they passed the plate. And I would play on Sunday morning at there's different churches and things. And then I said, I need to record a CD. And my parents are like, who's going to buy it? I said, I don't know. The same people that buy other saxophone CDs, and I didn't even know really what smooth jazz was at that time, like,
Yeah.
so I was just recording it and making CDs in my living room, like going to the office supply store and buying jewel cases and burning CDs and all this. It was a family
Oh.
operation. But once I sold like 1,000 of them, my parents were like, you might be onto something. And so it kept on going from there, and many independent projects after that, and I played a lot of weddings and corporate events, and I still do a lot of those events. Actually, I have a wedding this weekend I'm playing,
Hmm.
but so meanwhile I'm going to college and I'm playing gigs, and naturally, it's like you go to college, but right out of high school, once whatever you thought you were going to do doesn't work out, which was military in my case.
Hmm.
I never really thought about what I was going to major in. I just knew that to go in the military to fly, to be a pilot, you have to be an officer, which means you have to have a minimum of 4 years of college. You go to college for 4 years. It doesn't really matter what you major in. Then you go in the Air Force, you go to officer training school, and then whatever you're going to do, they train you for. So I wasn't really worried about college. I just knew I had to get a degree, but I wasn't concerned with what. Now at
Yeah.
this point, I had to declare a major. I'm a musician, so I'll go major in music. So I started doing that for a year, and then I said, this is really boring. And I know most of what they're teaching me already. And it was also classical, which I'm not hating on classical music, but when you kind of play jazz and R&B stuff, it's totally the opposite. Not to mention I couldn't play saxophone because they didn't have a saxophone teacher. So I had to major in voice. Again, I'm not a singer. So now you've got this guy that's not a singer, and I can't sing in English, of course. We're doing classical music. We got to sing in Latin, so that makes sense. So I said, I'm really not having a good time with this. Let's figure something else out. And my dad's like, you need to have a plan B. Music will always be there, and you're already making money playing gigs and things. But they don't care if you're playing a concert or somebody's wedding. They don't care if you have a music degree. I'm like, you're right, because I'm already doing that. So I said, you need to do something that's job security. And long story short, I became a respiratory therapist. I went in the medical field. I said job security. I knew 2020 was going to happen, this Corona thing. I said, I need to be ready. No, I was kidding. I did not have a crystal ball.
That's
just the way things. Yeah. I know, but God did, and ordered my steps, and knew that I was gonna need that job, and that one day the music stuff would slide on the back burner for a little while, and I was gonna need something to pay the bills. And so I've been a respiratory therapist for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And I've never been full time with it. It's always been, ironically, it's been my side gig. Most people are like, I got my day job, and then music's my side gig. But music has been good to me, and even before I was on the radio, I've been playing gigs really regularly, and I just worked what we call per diem or PRN in the medical field. But a few years ago, when we started having kids, my wife and I, she decided to be a stay-at-home mom, and so we lost her health insurance. And so I was able to step up my hours to part-time at the hospital. Mm-hmm. And that allows us to have health insurance. But still doesn't take up full-time hours, like 2 days a week, which is 12. We work 12 and a half hour shifts. Yeah. So as long as I work at least that much, then I get to keep my health insurance, and I can still play gigs and do what I love to do. And so it works out. That my dad always had this saying, do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do. And that's definitely reigned true in that department.
Yeah. Amazing. Do you have that first CD that you did?
I have it digitally.
You do?
Yes. Yeah.
And how do you think it sounds listening to it today?
Oh wow, it's rough, but it's funny, it's humbling, but I did everything. I played the keyboards, and I did like the drum loops and stuff on like a Casio style keyboard,
Oh wow.
And, so everything I didn't even do any bass. It was just piano and drums, and that's what it was.
I'd love to hear it.
So, oh man, well, what's funny is I kept it going, and some of my subsequent CDs after that are out there. I must have clicked something somewhere along the way when I was in my CD Baby profile, and like, let's distribute that. At one time I thought it was thebomb.com, and so the world needs to hear this. And so then it's out there. So I've got one that's just called CHRIS GODBER, self-titled. It's picture me like on the beach playing the saxophone, and that's very, very similar style there. And then there's one I did after that. It's more of like a wedding / gospel project called Will You Be Mine? And I did these projects again way before I was even thinking about radio. It was just I needed a product to sell locally at some of these events I was playing at. So that's all I made it for, was just something to sell locally, the trade shows and things I was playing and weddings. And now it's on the World Wide Web, and so anybody that hears it, if that's all they hear, they'll be like, oh, this guy. So please listen to the newer stuff. Don't judge. But anyway, so some of that is out there, but I consider my first album, my 2009 project, One Breath at a Time. Mm-hmm. I actually came out with that when I was graduating respiratory school.
Right.
And so it's kind of a play on words, asthmatic saxophone player, respiratory therapist. So I called it One Breath at a Time. So I consider that my first project. Anything before that, I don't know that guy. So.
Well, you got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Well, this is true. This is true. And a lot of we hear when somebody comes on the scene, and they sound really good because they've got $500,000 studio stuff behind them, and a huge budget. Mm-hmm. And the recording industry, they're in a professional studio with a producer. I didn't have any of that stuff. I was winging it. I didn't even have anybody to show me the ropes. I'm just experimenting, and
so you did it all by yourself.
I literally everything by myself. So
you can't even master it yourself.
Yeah, I didn't even master it back then. I didn't know what that was. It was just as it came off the keyboard, I'm like, hey, done, print. so all those things that you just learn along the way. And what was really funny is I bring that up because you hear these other artists that are just, they sound so polished right out of the gate, and you're like, oh, they're amazing, but like without all that stuff they wouldn't sound that way.
Yeah.
As Ed Sheeran, I was watching an interview with, I don't know if it was Ellen or who it was, a year or so ago, and he was talking about how rough he was when he was starting out, and he shared a clip, and before he knew how to sing and taught himself or whatever he did to learn to sing, it sounded rough. I'm like, man, I can relate to that. I know what that's like. And but
well, we need to hear your first one.
Yeah. It's not on this tablet, but I could probably pull it up actually.
Yeah.
I could let you hear a clip. So
That'd be great.
it could be done. So,
well, maybe we should hear a polished track first.
Yeah,
by you right now.
Yeah.
Shall we do that?
Well, let's do that. I can do. Let's start with the first song that went big. That was kind of my breakout song. It was Rain, off the Starting Over album in 2015. It's the fourth album really that I did. I did Christmas Project too before that, so counting that. But the Starting Over album, it's kind of a rebranding. I called it Starting Over because I was switching gears. I was trying finally to get on the radio and do this contemporary jazz commercial sound, and also just rebranding the music, the image, and all that. And from my church background, 2 Corinthians 5:17, to be in Christ is a new creation. The old is gone, the new has come. And so it was kind of a mixed bag of imagery there for that. So I called this song Rain. It was the first single that went out, and it was a top 10 song on quite a few of the jazz charts, groove jazz music. It went to number 6. Got picked up by Sirius XM Watercolors, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and a lot of those. So yeah, let's get that going.
Fantastic.
Without further ado, I'll play it live here. This is called Rain.
Great. That was
That's a
wonderful.
sound I have not heard in a long time. Applause. That's
You're going to hear it
wow.
a lot today.
Thank you. That is too cool. That was one of the weirdest things about starting doing the Facebook live stream things is that there's just no sound, there's no feedback, there's no anything other than comments, you know, and a thumbs up or something like that.
Yeah.
Just you in the song and it's just eerie silence. It's like very awkward. So
Yes,
that
I
was
can
very cool.
imagine.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I have to thank Spider for that. So that was off which album?
That is off the Starting Over album.
Starting Over. Is it
Yep,
6 albums you have?
Um,
6
so
main ones.
that one was 5. So yeah. So yeah, the main ones there. Because I also have a gospel project, so that that makes them there. So that would be like 6.5. That's a gospel EP. So yeah, Starting Over was 5. Momentum was 6. And then I did a gospel project. So,
And so with your gospel projects, do you have vocals on any of those?
there's a few vocals kind of in the background on a couple of the songs. It's on the gospel EP. So like one of my favorite songs off there is "Lord, You Are Good," and there's some songs or some background vocals in the background there, and on a couple of others. But we're finishing that up to be a full album. You know, it's just a 5-song EP, which is available on my website exclusively. I'll go ahead and find the chat thing. There we go. So I can put that on there.
Yes.
I didn't even have the chat thing on there. Hey guys, I wasn't ignoring you. I didn't see it up. So thanks Floyd. So here's a link to my website music store, which has all of my music. It has the links to iTunes and Amazon or wherever you want to buy music. They're on there as well. Or if you want to order a CD hard copy, you can. I think it's just music. I think that's it. There we go. That should be it. But for the gospel project, which is linked on there as well, is /IOW. Stands for Instrument of Worship, which is actually a throwback to my very first CD thing that I recorded. We were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And that was called Instrument of Worship. It was a play on words, instrument, gospel, and so I named my gospel EP Instrument of Worship for this officially, but it's not on iTunes and Amazon yet. It's exclusively available for download on my website at that link I just put up there.
Oh, is that quite new?
It came out 2018 as well. I was actually working on it as a full album, and then Hurricane Michael hit us. So we got hit by that Cat 5 hurricane and put a stop to everything because it wrecked my home and everybody else's home around here. And we were all homeless for a while, actually. So that's a whole other story. But God intervened on that as well. But
I love the way you smile at everything. Every disaster, you're smiling. It's amazing. I love it.
It's it's one of those things. It was painful. It hurt at the time. It was just my son was a month old. You know, we're coming up on the 2-year mark for that in October, and so it was just one of those things that we just didn't know what to do. I just knew we couldn't stay here. We didn't have a roof. We didn't have power or water or any of those. We didn't have cell signal. So somebody reached out, borrowed somebody's phone that was working, and they said, hey, they lived about an hour and a half away, and in an area that I played, I didn't know them really from Adam, other than there were some fans that came to support me at a local jazz club in a place I play in Dothan, Alabama. And so it says private, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I don't know how to change that. If somebody can maybe, it says privately. I'm sorry. I was just watching the thing. The chat
No, I didn't
pull
see
up.
a message from you.
Yeah, it just says. I guess I sent it to Floyd. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm new to this chat thing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Floyd, can you share that?
Floyd,
thank
can
you,
yeah,
Eddie.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. There you go. But so somebody reached out to me, and there were fans that come out to support me at this place, and they said, "Hey, we got extra rooms at our house. Come stay as long as you need." Because I was married, 2 kids. Again, my son was a month old and doing bottles, and it's just unsanitary to try to live in that situation. And just so, I mean, there's trees down everywhere. The roads are closed, and it was a mess. And so I took my family there, got them squared away, knew that they were safe, and felt comfortable with everything. And then I came back, my dad and I, to try to get them some things sorted out here, with insurance, see what was salvageable at the house. And then I had to go to work at the hospital. They needed help there, so the hospital was open about 3 days after the storm. I running on generators, and we were a spot for search and rescue and the National Guard and all those things. It was kind of a ground zero spot for that. So I worked there, and I would sleep there, and then I would go back to Dothan, check on the family, and go back. It was a big thing, but God brought us through that. You know, he made a way, and so yeah. So during that, I was trying to put the gospel project, but I just had to put it on hold, and we just started picking it back up the past couple months, and I was looking to put it out next year, but I just put out this new single, Essential. I'm thinking about dropping a new smooth jazz album I've been working on as well, so I may hold on to the gospel project for a little while longer, so that I'm not competing with myself with two different projects. So I may hold on to it, but I'm really excited about it, and to answer your question, long way roundabout back to it, the full album does have more vocals on it. I'm actually going to have some a duet on it as well. So it's gonna be pretty rich with that. You know, it's definitely sax. It's definitely an instrumental gospel jazz thing, but there are some vocals on there as well to supplement a lot of live instrumentation, horn sections, and things like that.
Yeah, I do love gospel music.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's just so uplifting.
I can give you a taste of it.
Could you right now?
I could do it.
Oh yeah, I might cry though. It does get me quite emotional sometimes.
Oh, we'll do a upbeat fun song.
Yes.
We'll do again. My favorite is "Lord, You Are Good," but there's even on the EP, "Lord, You Are Good," "Lord, I Lift Your Name on High," "Praise Is What I Do."
Oh yeah, I like that.
"We Fall Down," and then there's an Amazing Grace medley. So that's the 5 songs that are on the EP that are available right now. CHRISGODBER.com music store. It's you can download it right there. It's an MP3 only on that, but it is available exclusively on the CHRISGODBER.com. The reason it's not on iTunes and Amazon is just because I'm waiting for the full album. That way, it's not on there twice.
Yes.
So it'd be kind of confusing. So that's why I did that. But absolutely, let's get this gospel stuff going on here. This is "Lord, You Are Good."
I'll give you one of these while you get ready. Can I get an amen?
Appreciate it. Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
Didn't make me cry. It just lifted me up.
Well, thank you very much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
that was
that.
absolutely great. So yeah, we have, I think you're going to have a new fan here, Floyd Paris. So Floyd,
Awesome.
he also plays gospel. He's a guitarist, a jazz guitarist. So he plays a lot of gospel. Ronald's loving it. Lorna vouching, she's loving it too. Karen Gill. I'll tell
Oh,
you.
cool. Well, thank you.
You're going to have a lot of fans here. Cece, she said, amen. God bless you, Chris. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. I think
love
I just
that.
figured out the how to publicly text too, or on the chat thing there. I just
Have you
right-clicked
now?
on there
You've
and
done that?
So cool. Look at that. Oh, and thank you for putting up the virtual tip jar details. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes, I like
cool.
that virtual tip jar.
Yeah. But yeah, this gospel music has always been a passion of mine, and even my wife says that's what I play best. That's what I love to do. I don't know too many gospel jazz radio outlets, so I don't know how well the project will do at radio, but it's just something I love and it's a passion of mine, so I'm going to put it out regardless.
Yeah,
And just
most
hopefully people like it,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah,
So,
there's going to be a lot of smooth jazz DJs who do shows on Sundays. And it
yeah,
will be
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
perfect.
So,
Yeah, so definitely send it to me because I do a show on Sundays. So I'll
okay,
give it
good.
some
Good
airplay
deal.
for sure.
Well,
So
appreciate
you're
it. Well, I'll
at the-
send you the EP in the meantime as well.
Yes,
And then,
thank
of
you. I
course,
know
when the
you've
full album comes out, I'll get that to you.
You have sent me quite a few of your albums, which I do appreciate. And I know
Yeah.
you have a Christmas album. Do you have a new
I
Christmas
do.
album coming out this year?
Not this year. Not in the foreseeable future. Kenny G coined the market on Christmas music, and it's just like he put out two of them, and he played like all the best songs, and it's just I grew up listening to that, and so I love Christmas music, and it's just like trying to do it in a way that's not copying that, but
Yeah.
so my 2013 album was called Where Are You Christmas. It's spelled Christmas. I wanted to emphasize that in the title of it, so that's not a typo. The Christ is capitalized on purpose, but this politically correct world of happy holidays, like, nah,
Oh,
come on.
yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I did that, but so I put a lot of my favorites on there. Mary, Did You Know, and songs like that.
Do you have
And,
any
Where Are You
original Christmas tracks?
I do. It's called I Love Christmas is on there, and it's actually one that I wrote right after high school, probably in college, and I just held on to it and to that, and so it's on there. I don't know if you know Lowell Hopper. He's a guitar player.
I know him, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually playing on it. He's got a nice solo on that. So Lowell Hopper is practically my neighbor. Literally, he lives about a mile and a half from me.
Oh, really?
So we play on each other's projects a lot. He's amazing guitar player.
I think I
multi-instrumentalist,
communicated
really.
with him a couple of years
Okay.
ago via Instagram. But I haven't
Okay, yeah.
I haven't really listened to a lot of his music, but I think I need to.
He's got like 30 albums out. He's
30?
I'm exaggerating a little bit,
Not
but
a lot,
he does have at least 15 though. I'm no joke there.
Wow.
He's always like, it seems like every year or so he just put out another EP recently, and I've played on his at least one song on per album for the past probably 5 years or so, and so we share a lot. He plays on mine, I play on his, so he's definitely on that Christmas project, playing all the guitar stuff. It's really cool. So that is, I do have one instrumental or original song. It's hard to write original Christmas music as a sax
Yeah.
player, because if it doesn't have lyrics, it's like, well, what makes it Christmas? Well, you put some bells
The bells,
in it,
yeah.
and there you go. Yes, you put some jingle bells in there, and now it's a Christmas song instantly. So it's just one of those things. I definitely put the Christmas flair on it, and then you name it a Christmas title. I Love Christmas. What gets more Christmassy than that?
Exactly.
And then you've got a Christmas song. So that's what I did there.
So when you start your
but it's
when you start your Christmas project, how far into the year do you start it before Christmas? How many months before?
usually in the summer.
In the summer?
Yeah, usually I did that one in like July of 2013, because then there's the mix and mastering and all that process that takes a while, and then you've got to get it submitted, and then you want to make sure it's available by like November 1st. Even though some people think that's heresy to play something that early. It's just one of those things that I mean, you've got it. You've got like really a month and a half of promoting a Christmas project at best. And
Yeah.
then once January, really the day after Christmas, nobody wants to hear it
Yeah, I
anymore.
know.
Let's be honest. It's like, okay, take the tree down. Let's get rid of all these decorations. It's time to move on. And presents are gone, so forget this. And so it's just one of those things that people don't want to hear. That's overplayed. I know, like here at Walmart, they start putting like Christmas decorations out like the day after. Actually, they'll be out with the Halloween stuff. They'll be, September. They'll be putting that stuff out. Really, it's September now. If I go to
Yeah.
Walmart, they probably got a Christmas tree up in the garden section. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. They oversaturate it, but yet if you start playing music that early, oh, that's really crazy. So in like the day after Thanksgiving, a lot of the radio stations start playing it around here, and I don't know. It's one of those things. I get very busy that time of year with gigs. I'm
Yes.
hoping Corona, I still get to do that this year. But Christmas is a really, because people that don't normally book live music, they got to have Christmas parties. So I do a lot of these corporate business, doctors' offices, and all kinds of Christmas parties and things during that time. And so it's good business, but it's definitely commercialized. But I may do another Christmas project one day. I don't know. I do love Christmas music, but I try to
Me
do a
too.
lot of my favorites on that one in case I didn't do another one and just kind of let that one stand.
Yeah.
But I'm real happy. I don't know if you know Gino Rosseria. He's a keyboard player friend of mine, but he just put a new single out. He's got some good music out, and he produced that Christmas album, I still, even though it was 2013, I still like it. And
Yeah, Christmas music never gets old, does it?
yeah, well, I think good music in general. I'm not saying mine is great music, but I'm saying good music in general doesn't age. I mean, you
Yes.
can look at some of the great classics from the Motown era, something like it's good music. Earth, Wind, and
Yeah.
Fire is some good music. So I
Yes.
mean, good music doesn't have an expiration date. But
Exactly.
but yeah, Christmas music. It's
But that's the
as
only
long as you,
thing.
I guess, reserve it for that time of the year.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing
Go
that I
ahead.
enjoy about Christmas is the Christmas smooth jazz.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm not a big fan
sure,
of
sure.
Christmas
No,
anymore.
I'm
I
with you.
don't have small children. That's what Christmas is all about. It's for the kids. My nieces and nephews are in their
Absolutely.
30s. I don't need
Okay.
to bother with them anymore. So last year,
Yeah.
Christmas actually was here. And I actually did a
Okay.
radio show Christmas Day. And I was
Oh,
just so
cool.
happy to play smooth jazz. I was like, I'm in heaven. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do the same this year. But I realized Christmas is on a Friday this year. And my show's
Okay.
on a Thursday. But I can do
Yeah,
Christmas
gotcha.
Eve. And I may do
Yeah,
a Christmas Day
absolutely.
special too.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
would be cool. Maybe I can't volunteer other artists, but I'd be happy to either hop on or do a pre-recorded live Christmas song you can have on your
Oh
show
my
and just like, hey, this is
God. Chris,
Merry
you're
Christmas from the
amazing.
Godber family. It's just an idea, that'd be cool.
Yeah. You're a
So,
true angel.
yeah,
You really are.
I'll do what I can.
Oh, that is fantastic. But one of the questions I was going to ask, when you mentioned people that play on your albums, do you have the same band?
Sometimes, recording is so different now, at least for me, in a beneficial way. And even during this COVID stuff, a lot of people are shut in and not traveling, and so my setup, I outsource a lot of stuff. So I have a lot of friends. So the way I used to do it, my earlier projects, my 2009 One Breath at a Time project, and then the My Offering project from 2011. It was a live band setup. We kind of set up in the church sanctuary. We recorded, had the studio guy come in and record us all once, different tracks. Just it was very old school. It's like we're all playing and recording this in time, which isn't how you do records anymore. But it was just
Yeah.
I was on a budget, and that's how we did it. So now what I do is I just put down a demo. I get my producer, and then he does the really good keyboard stuff because I just play enough to be dangerous, and so then I let them make it sound really good, and then I'll have the bass player do his cut on his own time. I send it to him. He records it when he gets around to it, sends it back. Guitar, I've had Adam Holly. I'm sure you know Adam
Oh,
Holly. He's played on
yes.
a lot of my songs on the Starting Over album and Momentum, and so send it to him or whoever's playing guitar. On Essential, my latest single, Jordan Love is playing. He's amazing, young. He's like 21. He is phenomenal. And so a lot of people think that's Adam playing on the new single, but it's actually not. It's actually Jordan Love. And
Does he have
so I
his
sent
own
it to
music out
him.
as well?
What's that?
Does he have his own music as well?
He has a
Solo
new single
project.
that's out that just came out like a week or so ago called "Stepping Out."
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah,
I'll check
Jordan
that
loves
out.
"Stepping Out." I think he's really promoting it next year to radio, but it is available on iTunes now, kind of a
Okay,
soft
cool.
release. But yeah, I have to check that out. He's really good. So I send it to him or whoever's playing. I send it, and then we mix it all together. So I do use a handful of the same people. I have my go-to people, but it kind of depends who's available
Yeah.
and who I think is the best fit for that song, depending on the style I'm going for, the sound. I have certain things in mind that we're all good at different things, and so I try to just go into my Rolodex of who I think fits the best for that particular track. So yeah.
And is there any artist who you would love to perform with or to
Oh,
collaborate with,
tons.
alive or not with us?
Yeah. Oh wow. So we can go back in time. I like it.
Yeah.
Man, um, you know, a lot of sax players don't like to play together. It just becomes a competitive thing. But I've always loved Grover's stuff. Grover Washington
Oh
Jr. He's
yeah.
always a good one. I love even as a vocalist, Luther Vandross. I would love to be his sax player. I love
Oh,
playing Luther's
I actually
music.
know his sax player,
So, oh really,
Arturo
really?
Tappin. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. So I would love, to play for him, even just for a night, or a song, that would be
Oh,
cool. Brian Culbertson, I would love to
oh gosh,
collaborate with
yeah.
him. I've had a lot of cool opportunities to open up, for a lot of different people. But to collaborate with, to actually record something or play on stage, I played at a jam session after party with Mindy Abair several years ago, and that was really
Oh.
really cool. I kind of stepped off stage, and I wasn't expecting her to call me back out, but she did. Okay, so I didn't know what the song was. I just made something up, but there's a clip of it on YouTube. So it was. I mean, we're just jamming. That's what we do. So,
Yeah.
but it was cool. So those opportunities sometimes are just surreal, and they just kind of happen, and there's nothing that you did to make it that way, and right place, right time, sort of things. But yeah, as far as modern people, Culbertson for sure.
Yeah.
Adam Holly, he's produced some stuff for me, but I'd love to play something for him. There's so many people. It'd be on the spot to name them out. I'd be out here all day, but those are a few for sure.
But yeah, I see you have a lot of soul in you. And so, did you listen to a lot of R&B growing up?
I, yeah, and I still do.
Oh, do you?
So yeah, I like that kind of music. Um, I don't know. It's that white chocolate in me, I guess. I'm the only white guy at my church, so it's just that's part of me learning to play is it's around 2006. I was playing to churches, and this church saw me, and they said, "Hey, we want to bring you in to play for our youth and do like a night concert at our church." And I said, "Okay." And so I went there, and the band was amazing, and they said, I went there on a Sunday morning just to kind of get a feel for it, and they said, "Hey, why don't you come back early tonight instead of playing with tracks? We'll just learn all your songs." Like, that's awesome. And so I did, and they were just phenomenal, and I stayed, and I've been there at that church ever since.
Oh.
So it's really cool, but it was one of those situations. All the musicians are super talented, and it's one of those sink or swim situations. Like you play with musicians that are better than you, and it either forces you to get better or you're going to get booted out. It's a
Yes.
sink or swim thing. And I think it was Stan Getz that said you can read all the books, you can listen to all the records, but unless you play with musicians that are better than you, you'll never get better. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something along those lines that he said, and so yeah, I kind of took that to heart, and I always learning. So
Yeah.
so yeah, the soul thing. I love R&B. That's kind of I'm really not a jazz player. I'm self-taught, so I didn't really learn the traditional like jazz straight ahead. I don't play straight ahead
Right. So
jazz.
you didn't
That's a
study
whole thing.
jazz.
No, because yeah, eighth grade we weren't doing that, and that was my last. So like I wasn't doing Charlie Parker in eighth grade,
Yeah.
and so I mean I appreciate that stuff, but as far as playing it, it's just not really how I learned, and so I really relate more to R&B music. I really like hooks, catchy hooks. I like a nice groove, a nice beat, a nice bass line, and I like it. to be somewhat simple, so I can kind of add my own flair to it,
Yeah.
and so that's what I think gravitated me to smooth jazz. Again, even at high school, I didn't even know what smooth jazz was,
Yeah.
and so it was just still pretty new to me. But I just knew what I liked and the kind of music I like to play, and so I just kind of basically, to me, smooth jazz is a mix of R&B and gospel and sprinkled with a little bit of jazz in there,
Yeah.
with saxophones playing it, people are like, oh, that's jazz, but not necessarily. But saxophone is the forefront instrument for jazz, and so it's just one of those things. But
Yeah.
that's what you blend all that together, and that's the Chris Godber music. But the R&B thing is definitely what I feel I can relate more to, because I like a lot, the Isley Brothers and things like that. I like that old school kind of music, and so I just feel like if I can implement that on the saxophone, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, you're doing a grand job. I tell you, you are. Yeah. Absolutely love it. I really do. Um, I wanted to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Festivals, that's right. Panama City have a jazz festival, smooth jazz festival.
Yes, Seabreeze Jazz
That's
Festival.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's meant to happen in April this year.
yeah.
Yeah.
This COVID thing, it's torn everything up. It is messing everything. It's so hard. So many gigs have been canceled. Some are postponed, but they might as well be canceled. It's canceled for this year. It was going to
Yes.
happen next year anyway. So to even call it postponement, it's like, okay, you got the same lineup, but let's just be real. It was canceled this year. It's gonna happen next year. So yeah, that's something I've played it in 2016, and that's a whole story in itself. So it's practically in my backyard. I live in Panama City. The festival takes place in Panama City Beach, which a lot of people, I mean, even people that live here, they say, "Oh, Panama City, you live in Panama City Beach." I'm like, no, Panama City Beach is 45 minutes away from me. It's another city, it's another mayor, it's another police department. There's a bay
Okay.
separating us. It's a whole thing. But that takes place on the beach, and it's practically my backyard. So that thing's been going on there for years. The early years they were in Destin, Florida, and they moved because they outgrew their location. So for the past several, I don't know, 7 or so years, they've been in Panama City Beach. Probably longer than that. Yeah, longer than that, because I started doing what I'm about to tell you right when I got married. So that was 10 years ago. So they've been in Panama City for a while. So they wouldn't let me play in there because I wasn't big time. I'm still not big time. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I was like, the local indie artist, and so my music wasn't on the radio, and I was trying to submit my music to them, but it wasn't good enough or whatever. And so they said, no, we don't have local musicians play. And they just kept turning me down to try to get in there. So what I would do is, there's right across the street from it, it's in a place called Pier Park. There's a Starbucks and this courtyard. And so I would get permission from the park to set up my sound equipment, and my wife and I, every day, because the festival goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So for 4 days, I would go out there and I would set up my speakers, and I would play to my heart's content to anybody that would listen. And just anybody passing by, thousands of people, they come eat over there, and then they walk down to go to the festival, and I would just be playing all day, like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my God.
And so my wife out there under this little gazebo pop-up tent selling my CDs. This is before we had kids, we could do stuff like this. And so it would be so windy out there. She'd be like holding the tent down, trying not to blow away. It was funny, but yeah, I would do that, and I met a lot of people because the artists would come over there and eat. I met Kirk Whalum. I met Gerald Albright. I met Candy Dolfer.
Wow.
I met Kim Waters.
Oh,
So these artists are out. I didn't know they were listening to me. I would have been so nervous, but they were just hanging out. And some of them would come up and talk to me afterwards, and I'd get a picture and stuff. It was neat. But I did that for years. And then 2015, Starting Over came out. Rain did well on the charts, and that radio station picked it up. Seabreeze is a radio station as well. It just promotes the festival.
right.
WSKZ 106.3, the Seabreeze, and so they picked it up, and then they asked, "Hey, would you like to open the festival?" And had to think really long about that. Yeah. So we jumped on that, and I played that year, and then some other festivals followed that. Jacksonville Jazz Festival is another big one. and they've been 30 some years, and so I played that one and some other Florida festivals. But yeah, I'd love to get back to Seabreeze eventually, and even when I don't play, I usually pick one day and I'll go to one of them, and just to get a recharge the battery of inspiration of some of the greats that are there. It's really neat.
Well, I was, hoping to go to that festival this year, but my brother lives in Tampa, and he's a huge smooth jazz fan as well. So he says, well, if you go, we can drive from Tampa to Panama City. I'm like, that's 6 hours. I'm like, I'll meet you there.
Forget that. Yeah.
Americans do love to drive. They really do.
Apparently.
Yeah. But I went to the Newport Jazz Festival
cool.
in 2006 I kind of was treating myself for my birthday.
Sure.
And Peter White was going to be performing, and I'm a huge Peter White fan.
Yeah.
And so I just had to go. I've seen him many times in London at the Pizza Express. So when he saw me I had to go and say hi to him at Newport Beach Festival. And he looked at me, he's like, I recognize you. I was like, This is amazing. So now we are very good friends.
Oh, and cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love his music as well.
Yeah, he is the reason why I got into smooth jazz. His Perfect Moment album. I remember listening to that with my sisters in silence, the whole album from start to finish.
Wow.
I was like, this is incredible. So yeah, I thank him for starting my journey into smooth jazz.
Very cool.
Yeah, love it. So can we get another song from you?
Absolutely. Let's see what we might want to hear.
Everybody's loving your stories, by the way.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I know I kind of go off on a tangent, so you ask a question.
No, this is great.
All right. Well, let's do... I'll tell you one that did not get a lot of radio airplay, but it's one of my favorite. I think it's the catchiest song from the Momentum album. Momentum got played, but it was Sizzle. It was one I did with Adam Holly. He produced it. I'm like, man, I love this track. And for whatever reason here in the States, people just didn't play it. It didn't even get on the charts. It was I had the radio promoter and everybody that promoted the other ones that did well. And for whatever reason, this one didn't really get picked up. So you know what? I'm going to play it today because doggone it, I can. It's my song. Yeah. So, yeah. So this is called Sizzle, and again, produced by Adam Holly. It's one I sent to him, and he did his magic on it. It has a nice guitar solo, so here we go.
Cool.
All right. Some sizzle.
I have a feeling that's going to get more airplay.
That'd be cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
I always love that. Even my wife, she's like, even we talk about it still this day. She's like, how come like fizzled like it just did, I don't know. It was one of my favorite songs from the project, and for whatever reason, the feeling wasn't mutual here in America. But I appreciate the airplay over there.
Yeah.
So well, thank you much.
Oh, yeah. I will happily be playing that one real soon. And so with performing, you say you've been doing your Facebook Live events, and you know things are
Yeah.
kind of getting. Do you quite enjoy doing that?
Yeah, I was kind of nervous about it at first. And there was a lot of technical difficulties figuring it out, and everybody was in that same boat. It was just something I'd never done before.
Yeah.
The only time I'd ever gone live was if I was at a gig and my wife or somebody was using my phone and was like just doing a little Facebook Live of me and the band or something performing. But otherwise, to like set up at home and do like a virtual show, it seemed weird, because again, other than the chat, like there's no feedback. Like you and I are talking, but I can't hear anybody on the other side on a Facebook Live, and so it's just kind of it was different, and I was talking to some comedians that were trying to do that too, and you got to think they literally feed off of applause to know if their jokes are funny, and you got to think that there's no applause, like it's all crickets, so it's just awkward. So I got used to it and the feedback, and I figured out some of the things I need to do to make it work for things like this. And as a musician, I'm really particular about the sound, so I'm always like critical of that. I mean, does this need to be better or louder or whatever? So trying to get that and all those bugs worked out, and then also the timing. So I tried to find a night that wasn't saturated with a bunch of other artists, and Boney does something on Fridays, and Culbertson does something Friday nights,
Yeah.
and I'm not that I'm competing with those guys, but I'm trying not to be on the same time frame as other artists too, so that people don't have to pick and choose who they're going to watch, So that's something that I was thinking of. So I did Mondays was a free night in my schedule. I said, I'm going to do Monday nights. Nobody likes Mondays. So if they come home from work and they've got that and like hopefully calm their night from their work day or what have you. So I've been doing those since March. I took a break in July to finish up the Essential the new single. And I wanted to do that and do some more, just take a break from it. And so I'm back now. I'm doing it every 2 weeks. So I'll do it again next Monday. But that's probably going to be my last Monday for a while, only because now I have to work on Mondays now. My schedule's being changed. I've worked at the hospital. I've been off on Mondays for 10 years, and now all of a sudden that's changing because so one of our RTs is leaving the hospital, so I'm going to pick up her shifts for a while, and so my Mondays are going to be filled up. So I got to find another day that I can do it. So I may do some sort of wind down Wednesdays thing. I don't know. I gotta see. That's really the only other day I could do it. Because sometimes I have real gigs on Fridays, and again, I didn't really want to do a Friday night because so many people do that. So it either have to move to Sundays and do like some sort of gospel jazz thing on Sundays, or do a Sunday night thing, or do a Wednesday night thing. That's all I got. Those are my only free days. So but I'm still gonna try to do it. I just got to figure out another time slot.
Yeah. But you have to do it every other Wednesday, not to clash with my event.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, see, there we go. I can't compete with that at all. Yeah. No, we can work something out. We can definitely do that. But yeah.
For us in the UK, when you did your Monday night thing, it was like about 2:00 in the morning for us. So how can we get to see it?
Well, I leave it up there, so they're all up from even when I started back in like March or April. You can go back and watch the old ones on my music Facebook. So it's facebook.com/CHRIS GODBER sax. That's my handle for all my social media. So let me type that in here for you.
Yeah.
Oops.
You're good at this. I like it.
I try. I put forth the effort. That's all I can say. So Chris Godber Sax is my social handle for Instagram and Twitter, YouTube, and then Facebook as well. So that's my music page. And so if you like that, you can go back and scroll on the page and you can see all the old ones. So even the one from, a week and a half ago that I sent you the link for, that's still up there. I don't take them down unless I really bombed that night and it just stunk. Otherwise, I leave them up. So.
And you also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is just it's just random. So
your baby in the background.
Liam's running around. The YouTube channel, I mean, I've got live performances. I've got like cover songs I've done. I've got some saxophone tutorial things, like different things from mouthpiece reviews. I do review a lot of products. People send me things to try out. I have some tips and tricks and things for the saxophone world. So then there's, of course, my music is on there as well. So it's kind of got it divided up. I try to organize it somewhat, but it is a little bit of different things. But it's all saxophone or music related. So
yeah. So actually talking about your saxophone, what type of saxophone do you play?
So, we've got... I've got my soprano here, which I've yet to play, but if you give me a reason, I will. This is a Yanagasawa. It's a vintage. They all look vintage, but this one actually is. This one's 76-ish, something like that.
Wow.
Most of the lacquer's worn off, so it looks really dull because it is. But I love it. I have a shiny one, but I like this one better.
Yeah.
So that is a Yanagasawa, Japanese. I love the Yanagasawa company. They're still handmade saxophones, family-owned company. And then my alto saxophone is a P. Moriat. Influence 67X. It has rolled tone holes for any saxophone snobs out there that know what that means. But it's bare brass, unlacquered, so it has that vintage look. I like that, but that's not the reason I get the unfinished. I like the way they feel. Some people think it changes the sound. For me, it changes the way it feels, the way it vibrates in my hands, and I don't know. I feel more connected to the horn that way. And so this is a P. Moriat Influence PMXA67R, whatever. It's an Influence model, so it has metal key touches instead of pearl.
Okay.
And so most saxophones, they have pearl or abalone, something like that on there, but this has metal. So supposedly that changes something in the marketing brochure there. I don't know.
And but you also speak about the mouthpiece. Is it the mouthpiece that gives it your distinctive sound?
Well, no, it is me that gives the distinctive sound.
Is that right?
Yeah, in all seriousness, this is also P. Moriat. This is the same thing as the alto, but the tenor version. So, truth be told, I talked to this with a lot of students and professionals and people that are in the mouthpiece game. If you start changing up your mouthpiece as a saxophone player, you can go down a rabbit hole of spending thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get your sound. And what I try to explain to people is that only you can sound like you.
Right.
Your sound comes from you. It comes from your anatomy, your mouth, your lung capacity, your embouchure, the way you attack the notes. All of that is you. No matter what mouthpiece you play or what saxophone you play, you're always going to sound like you. The difference is the only thing a mouthpiece is it's a tool. It can make you brighter. It can make you warmer, but you're still going to sound like you no matter what. Your reed and all these things can change that. But what I try to explain to people, more illustrating, is that the further away you get from you, the less of a difference it makes. So you make the most difference. Your practice, the things we do. Saxophone is the closest instrument to the human voice, so they say. From the range of the horn, the way you have to enunciate things, you have to manipulate your voice, your vocal cords, a little bit to do different things. Hook my saxophone back up. I can demonstrate a little bit here. So if I just play this note just regular, okay. But if I want to make it growl, I have to do that with my voice. That's not anything I'm doing with my mouth. It's not anything I'm doing with my fingers. It's with my vocal cords. So that raspiness, that comes from my vocal cords. If I want to trill it and give it this, that sort of thing. Huge Groove does that sometimes. That's with my tongue.
Oh, right.
that's just a, that sort of thing. But yeah, so that it comes from you. Yeah. So the open myself up for that one. But the mouthpiece is just the further away you get from you, the less of a difference. The mouthpiece makes a difference. The reed, this combination, it can make it brighter, darker, warmer, however you want to describe sound. The neck would make more of a difference in the saxophone itself. You see some sax players like play a silver-plated neck. Kirk Whalum does, and I think sometimes Dave Koz has. But you can change the neck up to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
The saxophone itself, it does make a difference, but not as much of a difference as these things. The further away you get from you, the less of a difference it makes. Like the material the sax is made out of is not going to make as big of a difference as the mouthpiece. So I play on a West Coast sax soul machine mouthpiece on alto and tenor. It's a new mouthpiece. I'm an endorser for West Coast sax. They're he's actually out of Nevada. And Matt Lee, amazing guy, designer and sax player and friend. So that's what I'm currently playing on tenor. I play a Theowani hard rubber mouthpiece on soprano sax. But before this, I've played a lot of different mouthpieces, and most people that would never notice that I changed, And
Yeah.
whatever I heard in a particular mouthpiece, it was just very minute and made me switch or what have you. But yeah, so that's the thing. But if I played, like, me and two different sax players could play the same exact setup and sound completely different. So it really does it really does come from the individual for the most
That's
part.
really interesting. I always thought it was just the sax and the actual reed that you use is the way it makes it sound, but
Yeah, the reed, because how a saxophone works is it vibrates. You're blowing through here, and it vibrates. Hundreds of times a second. And the more it vibrates, the changes the sound. This is the ligature. This is a Silverstein ligature. I'm an endorser for them as well. Not trying to sell you anything, but no, this is what I use. So there's different. The material out of these, a metal ligature will be brighter in sound. Some people use like a Rovner ligature that can darken the sound a little bit, make it warmer. This is a string ligature. What I like about these is it doesn't do either one. It doesn't brighten it. It doesn't darken it. It just allows it to be what it is. It vibrates more freely, so it doesn't dampen or extend the sound. It just allows it to be the most natural way that it can be. And so I decided to just let the mouthpiece and all that work together without having any external force on there trying to make it different than what it is. So that's the story with that. But yeah, it all works together.
and also with your asthma, do you feel that the sax has helped with the breathing?
Yeah, for sure. So the positive pressure and resistance it takes to play a saxophone has helped me get off those corticosteroids and things I mentioned earlier on to be able to play, and it's kind of a form of self-therapy. And now that I'm a respiratory therapist, I understand a little bit more about how that worked, for sure. But I still have asthma according to my pulmonary function tests, but it is very well controlled, and I don't think about it except for when the weather changes or something like that, kind of seasonally, my allergies or something like that. I'll have to get on my inhaler a little bit. Certain days if something's just bothering me, pollen or what have you. But otherwise, I work out regularly. I'm very active, and it hasn't slowed me down anymore. So the saxophone definitely helped.
Well, that's great to hear. It's clearly keeping you very fit.
they're heavy, I gotta curl this thing.
No, you're absolutely amazing. I love, to know about the saxophone. Even Sandra Sutherland says this guy needs to teach. I assume you do teach.
I have in the past, so thank you, Sandra. I've thought about doing some like online lessons or some. What I enjoy though is sharing things like that and fine tuning. It's when people were trying to get me to teach, they really wanted me to teach the basics, and people that were just starting, and it's just so hard, to teach that, because you need that classroom setting with other students and things like that. So to do one-on-one and to teach basic, what I wanted to do was teach more the advanced stuff, and somebody that already plays, and not super advanced, but maybe they just played for a year or two, and so I can kind of build on that versus trying to start from ground zero. But the problem with what I was teaching is just the people just weren't, they just weren't as, they weren't as in it as I was, you know, they weren't as dedicated. And so I had my age ranges from like 10 to 60. And I had this one guy and his he was about 55, and he wanted to learn, and he's like, do you think I can learn? I said, yeah, if you're willing to, but you know, it's all about what you put in it, you know. Nothing like this happens on accident. You get what you put into it. And so he bought a saxophone. I actually sold him a saxophone, and so he wanted to learn to play for his mom. He said he secretly wanted to, he was a football player, a sports jock, but he secretly wanted to be one of the band nerds, you know, but it wasn't cool, so he didn't do it. But now later in life, that nobody's judging him, so he wanted to learn. So I taught him for a good 6 months, and he learned to play what he wanted, a few songs for Christmas party, and then he kind of dropped off. But it was just one of those things, like people weren't as willing to put in the work, because you can tell if somebody's not practicing. Like, okay, if you still can't do what we worked on last week, then you haven't worked on this. So it was just one of those things that they were paying me to, and they weren't, I don't know, they weren't doing what I was asking them to do. So I kind of stopped. But also my schedule just got so busy with playing gigs and working at the hospital that I just didn't have the time for it. So I stopped. But I would consider it again for the right student, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe just doing a virtual thing.
Maybe
a lot of people
me.
do Skype lessons like this. Yeah. If you absolutely, you know, a lot of people do Skype and Zoom lessons, and that's like a thing now. So so that's, you know, I could see that happening.
But you have to have a good soundproofed room, though, don't you?
Somewhat, you know, for more so for the rest of your family or anybody listening that needs to not hear all the squeaks, rattles, and rolls, you know, that go along with that. So,
But you know, with the new saxophones, they make new saxophones now, don't they?
Yeah, this, believe it or not, is only 2 years old. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
It looks a lot older than that.
because all the because there's no lacquer on it. It's just bare brass, so it ages with this patina that makes it look very antique.
Because you do see them looking bright and shiny, usually. And I think they just look a bit too bright and
those have
shiny.
lacquer, that gold, the coloring on there.
Yeah.
Some of them, I'm scared to touch them. So I don't know, I like things this one's a little rough around the edges. You know, I'm not afraid of it. So.
So I am hoping that you're going to come to the UK to perform one day soon.
I would love to. You know, I haven't had any venues. That would be great. You know, let's put this Corona season behind us, and let's get back to living.
But you must have heard about the venues over here.
I have. I haven't had any contacts. You know, everything in this game is about who you know.
Yes.
So it's one of those things for them to have heard of me. And then probably getting multiple things lined up, because just honestly, the cost of travel costs more than I charge to play. You know, it's just one of those things that the travel expenses. So I'd have to have several things lined up to make it economical for everybody, so that, you know, I'm not putting all the weight on one venue to try to pay for me. You know, I mean, I don't charge crazy money. I'm not charging, you know, Boney James prices or anything like that. But just you know, then I have to get a band over there to learn my music or something, versus bringing 4 other guys with me. And there's, I mean, it's definitely doable. That's what I do here in the States when I fly across the country to play somewhere too. But it's the same thing. It's just you gotta have multiple avenues or venues lined up so we can make it beneficial to everybody. But I would love to come.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Because, you know, now that the music's getting back out, the live music is happening again. It is only happening to a smaller crowd. And how do you feel about that? You're probably more used to playing to a very big crowd. How would it be to play to like 30 people?
Yeah, you know, I'm used to those sold out, you know, stadiums that are just not.
You are?
I'm kidding.
I've read your website.
No, not stadiums. No, I mean, what are you talking about, 30 people? That's all I play to now, you know. But all seriousness, it's got to be hard for a lot of venues, because so you cut your audience in half to socially distance people, so now you can't fit as many people in there.
Hmm.
You can't sell as many tickets, or you got to charge twice as much for them, or something, to make it worthwhile for some people. Now, for me, I think it's beneficial because now it's a lot easier to sell out a venue because there's not as many seats. But the other token is I don't charge as much as some of these artists. So some of these artists that charge a lot of money, yeah, they may not be able to come because they're not gonna have. I mean, they'd have to charge $500 a ticket or something crazy to get that kind of money that they were, so it might work in my benefit, but I'm okay with that because I play a lot of different places that different shapes and sizes. I played a lot of churches and I still do. And sometimes some little church will call me and be like, "Hey, I actually about 2 months ago I played a church in Alabama and they said, "Hey, we want to have you, but due to this virus, we're only allowing 80 people, and they normally have multiple services at 200 and some people per service, and they said we're only letting 80 people in the venue. It's kind of first come, first serve.
Yeah.
First 80 people, boom." That's weird for the doors of the church to shut and you can't come in. but that's just how it was. And I said, and for churches, I do like a love offering thing. I still do. It's just I've never felt right about putting a price on the ministry. And so
Yeah.
some churches make me do it. They're like, "No, we don't do that. Tell us how much, we'll write you a check," and
Oh.
whatever. But it's one of those things. I said, "Hey." I said, whatever God provides, if there's 80 people there, where 2 or 3 are gathered, He is in the midst. It's going to be okay. And so it did, and it worked out, and it was much more than they expected. It was kind of like when Jesus broke the bread and the fish, and it just multiplied, and
Oh.
so He always makes it work out. It was good, and it was like a regular gig and then some, and then I sold CDs, and it was good. So it's not a big deal, So yeah, there was maybe 80 people there, spread out, and they also did a live stream and things like that. But I have no problem if it's 30 people. I just got to get like 30 of those gigs so that they can pay for my plane ticket.
Yes, exactly.
But no, we'll figure it out. But I would be definitely willing to do it. I like intimate environments, even like this. It's fun. So I went up to Ohio, which is like I flew because I was tired when I got there, but I flew. So it's like a 16, 18-hour drive. So I
Gosh.
flew. But I played there before at a different venue. I had a pretty good fan base. I get there, and suppose I had marketed it, on all my social media, but supposedly they were marketing it. It was part of the contract. I'm like, "Hey, you guys have the radio station up there. You got to really promote this thing." And they said they did. I was nervous. I had a weird feeling about it the whole time. Got the band learned my stuff, got there for sound check, and we had, trying to visualize the room, I think we had 5 people there. Yeah, I had like 5 people in this venue. That it wasn't a huge venue anyway. It probably held like maybe 75 or something, but 5. It was very intimate that night. I'm like, "All right, everybody come to the front row so you can feel the sweat and the spit. We're gonna really get into this." And I play no matter, like, regardless. I'm gonna play my best.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's a full house. I'm gonna do what I do no matter what. I love it. And I'm gonna put on my best show, and we had a good time. But it was a bit disappointing for sure because
Of
I flew all
course,
the way
can you
here, and
imagine?
I felt really. They still paid me. I had a contract, but I felt really bad for the venue. I'm like, "You guys lost some serious money tonight."
Yeah.
Because, like, man, it's just not here. So okay, so yeah, it was weird. But I mean, we had more people on stage than in the audience, So, but actually, speaking of Noel earlier, that he helped me with that gig because that was in his neighborhood, and that was when I
Oh.
was playing up there. That's how I met him. A year or two before that venue, he booked me for a gig. He's a cool guy. He's got me for quite a few things. So yeah, but yeah, so that's one of those things. I've had a few gigs like that just bombed in a way, but you live and you learn, you move on, and I
Yeah,
make the best of it.
exactly.
So
But even if you was to do a gig to, say, 30 people, do you have to tone down the music that you play? You don't want it too hyper because you can't dance at the moment in places.
oh yeah, I mean, I can. I'm gonna dance while I'm playing. So.
Yeah.
I don't dance, but I do move around a bit when I'm on stage. But I'm still gonna play. But it is a thing. Like, yeah, maybe you can't. Yeah, they can't do the electric slide or something up
No.
in there. You know, we won't do that one. We won't do cha-cha slide
Yeah.
and all that. So, but you know, I'm still. People showed up. I'm gonna give them the best show we can. You know, I feel like I want to
Yeah.
get them their money's worth and let them have a good time. I know people are really over this COVID stuff. They're ready
Oh,
to
yes.
to have some live music again. And so,
Hmm.
I would do what I'm gonna do and they may not be able to dance around, but they can clap, they can
They
move
can
those
move in
feet,
their
they can
chair.
yeah, they can yeah. So we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Yeah. We've had a request
Okay.
from Ian Brown, and he wants you to play Essential.
Essential. That's a great song. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
because that was
That's my new.
released recently, right?
Yeah, that's my new single.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can definitely do that.
Listen,
Um,
Ian has just purchased your albums. You downloaded Sizzle and My Offering and Starting Over and more.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was just reading those comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting those. Definitely. Um, yes, I will do essential and
Fabulous.
yeah,
I think you got a few new fans here. I think
I
you probably got
appreciate it.
your crowd for the event that you're going to do here.
Well, there we go. It's already sold out, right? We'll name it, claim it. So that's it. That's it. Go ahead and book my ticket. So yeah, this is the new one. It's definitely inspired from this pandemic. Essential, you know, being one of those frontline healthcare workers. That's a word that's being thrown around a lot is essential, but you know the meaning hasn't changed, but the word definitely, I think we look at it differently now, and the media is quick to tell us what is and what isn't essential with our jobs and everything. You know, it just kind of begs the question: what is important? You know, what is essential to us? And so I think music is one of those things that to me, of course, is essential. It's also my livelihood, but I think it
Yes,
goes a long way and helping us out mentally too
definitely.
during this. You know, I saw a survey that kind of inspired me to name it this. I actually wrote the song back in February before this all went down. I just held on to it and finished it in July, but finally named it during that break I took from Facebook Live because I saw a survey that said that entertainers and the arts and the music industry and actors were like 1% essential during all this. And it's like,
What?
I know what you're saying, but I don't foresee that because I know how much Netflix we've streamed and how much music we've watched during quarantine. It's like, man, I'm sure
Exactly.
appreciative of all that stuff.
Yeah,
And I appreciate everybody that goes into it, the actors, the directors, the writers, the boom operators, everybody that makes TV shows and the same thing in the studio and the music world. And we all play a part. No matter what job we have, we bring something to the table and we're all essential in different ways of making this world go round and important. And so I just wanted to bring that to the forefront and get people thinking about that. And so I named it Essential. So
I like
here we
that.
go.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Essential. Thank you.
I do love the reasoning behind that track. It's a nice,
you.
positive track. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you much.
Yeah.
You guys are all essential. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on here today.
It's
So,
incredible.
thank you.
Honestly, it's outstanding. And you actually have reached the Billboard charts before, haven't you?
I have with a song called "Vibin."
I love
Ironically,
that.
A Chill was one of my most successful song. I guess I don't know, financially, radio wise, it spanned the longest on the charts. Still gets played on XM watercolors, and I would say it's my most popular song is "Chill" that people have heard. A lot of people have told me they've heard that was the first song that heard me, and whatnot. And "Rain" was the highest charting song on most charts, but for whatever reason, it wasn't on Billboard. And then "Vibin." The charts are so weird. let's just be real. Like what's high on one chart is not even on another chart. And so "Vibin" was the first time I got on the Billboard, the top 30, and it was like 23 or 24 or something like that. It wasn't real high, but I was just thankful to finally be on Billboard. Just for my resume to say, hey, I'm a Billboard artist now. But but yeah, and Essential. I don't know. It's the smooth jazz market here in the States is and the virus is hurting a lot, I'm sure. But the Billboard stations are shrinking. There was a lot more in 2015 when I launched that album, and then even a momentum in 2018. There was like 24 or something, and now I just heard there's like 16 now. So a lot of closed up, and yeah, so like it's hard to get them to play you now. So even this song isn't. Like charting like some of my other ones have. Just some of them aren't responding. I don't know if they haven't even responded to my emails from sending it out. So some of them, I don't know what's going on with some of that. But I'm glad you like the song.
I love
appreciate
it. And I have played it too. Did you do all your own promoting, or would you have like a management team that did that for you?
Yeah, in the past, I've always hired a radio promoter. This time, I've hired a few different things. Doing some ads with different companies on their sites, and I did a radio send out. I hired a firm to send out the single digitally. Sorry, my internet said it was unstable, but I think it's back. So I had that sent out, and then I sent it out as well myself to everybody that I knew, yourself included, just to make sure that I covered the bases. But I didn't hire a promoter this time like I have in the past. It's really, really expensive, and I just couldn't justify it with the gigs not coming in. And really the only way I get that money back is if, one, I sell a lot of music, which, you just never know at 99 cents a track, but or with royalties. And the biggest royalty payment is through Sirius XM watercolors. And if they pick up the song, then I'm like, okay, I know I'm good, I'm gonna get that money back. And if they don't, then it's like, okay, well, I'm kind of in the hole on this one. And that's happened the past couple songs. They used to pick up my stuff a lot. The past couple singles, even when I hired a promoter, that's kind of the reasons you hire a promoter, is like they've got those relationships, and nothing happened. I'm like, okay, well, I can do nothing all by myself. So that's what I kind of decided to do on this one. And so I just pushing this one out myself with the budget that I had to work with, trying to keep the lights on. So I just forewent the promoter on this one, and honestly, I'm getting the same results I got on the last song with a promoter, so I'm okay with it. I didn't spend a bunch of money, so
yeah.
So,
and
but regardless,
on Spotify as well.
Yes, yep, Spotify.
With Spotify, artists don't get paid that much for each play. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
It is. It's sad, and Pandora too. I think you get like 5 cents every time somebody plays your song or something. If you're lucky, it's a little bit less than that. So yeah, laughing all the way to the bank on that one. but every little bit helps. It's one of those. A lot of the big name artists really hate that. Taylor Swift has been very vocal about that. And yeah, compared to regular terrestrial radio, the royalties aren't the same. But to somebody like me, you want every little avenue you can for people to hear your music. And if that's where they're at, if that's where listening, I mean, music has gone to streaming. Even Apple Music is more popular than iTunes. Like people just aren't buying and downloading music like they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so streaming is the kind of the next thing. And yeah, the payout isn't as much, but on the flip side, because they're not buying your song, if they want to hear it again, they got to come back and stream it. So then you keep getting that 5 cents from them over and over. So I mean, if you look at it that way, that it's like, well, it's just kind of a passive income that way. That's just hopefully going to keep on giving. So it's a different thing, but it's also an avenue for people to be exposed to your music that might not have otherwise. So that's the spin I'm trying to put on it. Yeah. How I'm trying to look at it anyway.
And this is exactly why I do what I do. Because, not many people on this Zoom call right now, or those on Facebook Live, would have heard of you, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. I did hear your music some time ago and played it on my radio station, but how many people that was getting to, I do not know. So people actually seeing you and hearing your story, I think, now people will start buying more of your music. So I do hope this helps.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you. And yes, Laverne, I'm ready to come overseas and do this. That's why music's playing here today. And I appreciate those that do still buy albums and support artists. A lot of work goes into making this music. It's very expensive to pay all the musicians and all the people that work on it, But I do as much myself as I can, like the digital design. I took my own picture on that. The album art. My wife's a photographer, but she's also a baker, and she bakes a lot of cakes, and she's been very busy with the kids and things. So I actually set up the tripod. I took my own picture. I did my own album art design for Essential and things like that. My wife's done the other one, Starting Over, Momentum. She did all that, but I did this one. So I've tried to do as much producer and I mixed and mastered it on this one instead of outsourcing it. We were just trying to be as cost effective as possible with what we've got right now with the current situation.
Yeah.
But
kind of like you're probably thinking, so what can the kids do?
Yeah. Okay. You play these pots and pans with the spoon real quick. We're gonna add this live percussion. So yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate all that to say. People like yourself that are promoting and giving a platform to independent artists. Yeah,
very, very happy to, especially when they're so good like you. So we only have 13 minutes left.
Yeah, I realize we've been going almost 2 hours now.
This is amazing, honestly. Yeah, you kept.
Thank you for all those that have been listening and not bored. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no one's bored of this. Trust me. So I want one quick question. What have you loved the most about lockdown?
I think it's maybe forced us to not be as distracted. I mean, we're kind of homebodies anyway. I'm very family oriented, but it's forced us to also to think about that. And I think as a clinician, I'm very germaphobe. I've been ever since I learned how to professionally wash my hands in respiratory school. The whole 26 seconds of ABCs or whatever that, where you're really scrubbing your hands. I've been a germaphobe ever since then with sanitizer, and not crazy, but I'm very aware. And I think that's what this quarantine and this virus itself has brought to a lot of people is just awareness. Yeah. Now everybody on Facebook's a microbiologist, but they all have their opinions about stuff. But as far as just washing their hands and just being aware that the germs and the bacteria are on everything, and if you treat everything like it's dirty, then you'll go a long way in just preventing the common colds. Washing your hands is the best thing you can do from spreading any kind of sickness, not just COVID-19. So, so I think that is one thing that have come out of it, but also just people that have been forced to be in the house together and it's been some family time rather than just going and doing everything.
I think some people will be happy with that, but not everybody.
This is true.
I'm so happy I live on my own.
Depends who you're living with. Yeah. So that I guess would be the limelight out of it, but also it's forced me to do this Facebook Live stuff, and it's forced us into things like this, and it gave an opportunity for me to meet you and all of you. So that's the flip side. So.
Oh, you're amazing! And shall we get another song from you?
Yeah. I don't know what you guys want to hear. I was talking about chill. I can do some chill.
Let's do
Chill
some
was
chill.
let's chill out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it. Normally it's an alto song, but I'm gonna do it on soprano because my soprano was over here feeling lonely.
Oh.
So I'm gonna do that. Uh, so here we go.
Cool.
Not that one. That was that's the wrong. That's essential again. Let's try this.
Yeah.
All right, there's a little chill. Thank you.
There's been so many beautiful messages. I haven't read them all out, but I have to read this one by George Whitmore, who's a saxophonist as well. It's inspiring evening. Thank you, DJ Sapphire, for introducing us to Chris. Loved his stories and approach to life and his music. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, George. Appreciate that.
And there's so many on Facebook Live. I haven't even read any of those messages, but we can read them later.
Yeah. Facebook, I'm not ignoring you. I can't see your comments, but I'll check them out later. Yeah.
And Empress Lee, she loves that word. She says wicked. And Empress Lee is the partner of Ray Carlos. So the reggae jazz track I played earlier.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's her partner. So that's nice.
Oh,
that
cool.
she's here.
I love that.
Yeah. But I don't want to keep you much longer because I know you got things to do. But I want to say a huge thank you so much for giving us your time.
Absolutely.
Telling us your stories. And I'm sure there's more stories. We may have to do part 2.
Sure. Anytime.
Yeah. So tell us again where we can get your music. Tell us your social media details. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so at Chris Godber Sax is my handle for everything. It's from Instagram, Godber Sax, I'll put that there, Facebook, Chris Godber Sax, Twitter. I'm not as active on there, but I do post things from time to time. Chris Godber Sax. I spelled my own name wrong. Let me back up. Goober. So there's that. All my music's on iTunes and Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, Google Music or Google Play or whatever you call the Google store there. So all my music's on there, or you can just go to chrisgodber.com.
I hope you're all making notes.
So there's that.
I have just unmuted everybody.
Okay, all right.
I want everybody to start clapping for you right now. Let me everybody unmute yourselves and give Chris a round of applause, please.
A round of applause.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. So yeah, all the music's on all those digital resources where you would buy your favorite music. But except for the gospel album or the gospel EP, which is only available on my website, chrisgodber.com/music. It's available on there. It's called Instrument of Worship EP, and it's exclusively available on the website. But everything else is also on iTunes and all that stuff. And my social media handles are Chris Godber Sax. So, well, thank you guys for watching. Do any of you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
I'm expecting that.
Oh, who's that?
One of these ladies has a really deep voice. That's all I can see. No. I'm kidding. Obviously, I can't see everybody's video.
You're being shy, or can you not unmute yourselves?
Does my family play music? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, my wife, my wife in the background. She shouted across. Where did he start playing music, and why was it? Why did you choose the sax?
Okay. Well, I started music. Nobody else in my family is a musician. I am an oddball. My dad was military, and he's a singer. He would sing in church and things like that, and a great voice, but he didn't play any instruments. And I was just really inspired to do so from growing up listening to their music collection. And when we lived in Germany, there was a particular sax player in the 80s that was getting really popular, and that's really what made me want to play. Just growing up listening. I was trying to pull this up real quick for you. I can probably show you better what made me want to play the sax. So listening to this guy. Yeah. Let me get him for you. Here we go. Right here.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. hold it sideways out of my mouth like he does, you know. So there, I got this Kenny G wig just to troll Kenny a little bit there. So,
Kenny G.
Yeah.
Kenny G. So yeah. Kenny is what made me want to play the sax. My parents were big Kenny fans, and of course he was getting really popular during that time when I was a kid, and that was my first introduction to the saxophone. And though I've listened to a lot of other people since then, the saxophone, just the way he played, I'm like, I want to learn to play the sax. I want to do that, you know. And so I did. It was easier said than done with the whole asthma road and all that, but you know, anything worth doing, I try to tell this to my daughter all the time, anything worth doing takes work. You know, nothing is just this instant gratification. You know, so it definitely takes a lot of effort, but that was, you know, Kenny G was my first introduction. I love Sanborn too. There's so many artists I love, but that's what the introduction that made me want to play the sax. So at a lot of my shows, I do the Kenny G bit. I
love that.
Kenny,
That's
just
brilliant.
so people know where I came from. So yeah. I had that wig just ready, just in case the opportunity presented itself. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sharon.
I'm here to please.
Thank you. So,
You play the songbird.
oh yeah.
my
I mean,
God.
let's see.
Kenny's
What's
great.
funny is I just did. I usually Songbird's the bit that I do in my shows. Just a few seconds at that. I actually had a Kenny G tribute gig I had to do this past Sunday at a local restaurant. The owner's big Kenny G fan, and they're from New Orleans. It's a New Orleans style restaurant, and so they have the straight ahead traditional jazz, but nobody there plays the Kenny G stuff. And so they said, "Hey, can you come in and play this for them?" And so I did, and it was a lot of fun. And so I did a bunch of Kenny G songs, and so I had that one queued up. But yeah, I can throw a little songbird in here for you guys. There you go. It was a little taste of songbird.
That was amazing. And actually, Kenny G was one of the first artists song that I purchased.
Yeah.
Well, the song "What Does It Take?"
Okay.
That
yeah.
song right there, I actually purchased.
Yeah,
I can't remember
that's-
what year it was. I only
still
owned
love
about
his,
20 vinyls, and that was one of them.
It's good. I still love his Duotones album too. But my favorite one probably, I mean, I love his Latin stuff that he's done recently, his Latin album, and then the Brazilian one as well. But his live album he did in like '89 or something like that. I have it on DVD and the CD. That was one of my favorite ones because something about when you're playing live with the band, the songs are longer, the solos are longer, tempo's a little bit different. It's just more stretched out, and you're really letting your hair down. No pun intended. For Kenny's hair is always down. But it's just really one of those things that you can really cut loose. And he's known for the songbird type songs. People call it elevator music or whatever.
Yeah.
But he can really play in a live situation, especially in tenor. He rips it up, and it's just still inspiring to me. Sometimes I'll just how quick he is with some of those altissimo notes. I'm like, man. So I love the energy on the live album. So that's probably my favorite one of his. But yeah, he's good stuff.
We have a
I
question
did-
from Sonia. Sonia would
All right.
like to know, which female sax player inspires you?
I would say Candy Dulfer. I love her sound. I love her energy, and she's really good. I've met her. I've heard her live, and she's amazing. So yeah, I would. Candy Dulfer is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's quite a new thing for female artists to start playing the sax, isn't it?
Maybe in the forefront, I mean, I mean, I had, before 8th grade, I had female sax players in my band. Yes,
Oh,
it's just,
really?
yeah. So I think it's just, I don't know. It's maybe it's just I don't know what would cause that, but I know Jesse J's the
Yeah.
last few years has come to be pretty well known. Of course, Mindy Aber's well known. There's just not as many. Cindy
Yeah.
Bradley's trumpet. I feel like there definitely needs to be a lot more female presence, and not just the smooth jazz world, but the music world as a whole.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's, not that it's frowned upon. I think maybe it's not encouraged enough.
Yeah.
That it's a man's world. No, it's not.
Yes.
But I think maybe some people still feel that way. I don't know. So yeah. My daughter, she's 6, but she says she wants to play the saxophone, and it won't be very long, and her fingers and everything will be big enough to. I'm gonna show her what I can if she's genuinely interested.
Yeah.
And I encourage that any way that I can. But yeah.
We have a question from
sax
Lorna.
players rock. Yeah.
Lorna says, "Did you wear the wig when you did the Kenny G tribute?"
Actually, I ordered it for that, but it didn't come in. It literally came in 30 minutes before I started this. So that's the first time I've ever used it. I had it, I unwrapped it, and I'm like, cool. I'm like, I'll try this if I have an opportunity. So I will from now on, though. I'm going to be having it at my gigs. I'm going to be having it there ready, and all of a sudden, scare everybody. I'm like, who is that? It's Cousin It, But yeah.
I think you need to put some spritz on it. I think it needs to be more like a Jerry curl kind of feel.
Yeah, I gotta do some work to it. It's a little
bushy.
lighter than I wanted it. Yeah. It's hurt a little bit. It needs some work, but so. But I just took it out of the wrapper and just, hey, there we go. But we'll see what we can do. Maybe my wife can help me out.
That was the creme de la creme for sure. That made my night. It really did.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you again. Like I said, I don't want to keep you longer than need be. But you have been
problem.
Amazing, very inspirational. Your stories have just been incredible. You've gone through a lot, and you're still smiling. And I cannot wait to see the future of what you're going to be bringing to us.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, thanks for having me on. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support. Those that have downloaded my music, and the Cash App donations and things coming across the phone over there. I greatly appreciate it. So, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Look forward to hanging out with you again.
Round of applause.
So, thank you again. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to play a couple more tunes, and then I'm going to say good night to everybody.
Okay.
But appreciate it.
You bet. Well, God bless you guys. I'm gonna sign off and go see what the kids are doing. But again, thanks for hanging out. God bless you guys. I hope to see you again soon. And hopefully I get to see you across the pond and come see you for real and play some live in your face music. All right. We'll get that set up.
I look forward to that.
Awesome. Well, God bless you guys. Take it easy.
Then. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye. Travis. Paul Rochester, how you doing? Sandy T. Thank you all for being here today. Amazing. Thank you, George.
Say I wanna be. Oh yeah, yeah. I wanna be down. I wanna be down. Wanna be down with you. Oh baby, it's true. Down, 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 baby.
dedicating this next track to a good friend of mine who's actually listening to me on the beach while he's walking his dog out there in Hollywood in Florida. Yes, Travis, this one is for you. And this is actually Travis Bridges, another great saxophonist. So good to have you with us tonight. Freddie G, how you doing? Hannah, thank you for joining us. Ruth English, Alfredo, take care, Genevieve. I'd like to say thank you again, everybody, for being here this evening. Did you all have a good time? Isn't he amazing? Truly inspirational person. Please buy his music. You're welcome, Travis.
A kiss from you. Red magic satin playing.
Take care, Addie.
All through the morning rain I gaze. The sun doesn't shine. Rainbows and waterfalls run through my mind. In the garden I see west purple shower bells and tea. Orange birds and river cousins dressed in pretty music I hear, so happy and loud. Blue flower echo from a cherry cloud. Feel sunshine sparkle pink and blue. Playgrounds will light.
Take care, Sandy T.
Is it cool if you arrive and don't see me?
Bye, George.
With my baby.
Bye, Indigo.
I'm free, flying in her arms.
Spider. Travis says hi. Thank you all on Facebook Live for watching. I am signing out now. I will play one more for you guys right here on Zoom. Take care, Lorna. You have made me laugh today. Thanks for Robert Radix. You sound Chris. This will be my last one. A song that you all know. Clearly a different version.
If I tell you now, will you keep on loving me? If I tell you how I feel, would you keep on bringing out the best in me? You give me that sweetest taboo. You give me the sweetest taboo. Too good for me. There's a quiet storm, and I never felt this way before. There's a quiet storm, that is you. There's a quiet storm, and I never felt this hot before. Giving me something that's taboo. Sometimes I think you're just too good for me. You give me the sweetest taboo. That's why I am in love with you. You give me the sweetest taboo. Sometimes I think you're just too good for me. Do anything for you. I'd stand out in the rain. Anything you want me to do. Don't let it slip away. There's a quiet storm, and I never felt this way before. There's a quiet storm, that is you. There's a quiet storm, and I never felt this hot before. Giving me something that's taboo. You give me the sweetest taboo. That's why I am in love with you. You give me the sweetest taboo. Sometimes I think you're just too good for me. Sometimes I think you're just too good for me. Every day is Christmas, and every night is New Year's Eve. Will you keep on loving me? Will you keep on bringing out the best in me?
unmute yourselves now. Ooh. How was that for y'all?
Yes, man. Massive respect. Massive
Yeah.
respect. Oh, you put me on spotlight. Put me off dead eye them. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I have to come back. Yeah. Impressive. Impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive, man. Very impressed. Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely.
Well, thank you so much. Why can't I hear you very well?
Can you hear me? Oh, how's that?
Yeah, that's much better.
That's better. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Turn down my mic. Yeah. Yeah, I say it's impressive, man. Very, very lovely. I'll be back. Definitely. I'll be a regular listener.
Yeah.
Tune
Well, I'm
in.
going to get you
Yeah.
to play some music at the next one.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. No problem. No problem.
I may have to
Look forward to
educate you on
that.
some smooth jazz.
Yeah, we'll
That's
have
not
to
gonna take
educate me
long.
some smooth jacks, yeah.
You got Deezer. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, man, just give me the playlist and me run them, yes.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm so sorry that your friend couldn't get any
I
sound.
tried him, I tried everything with him. I think it's something to do with his phone. He's logging in with his phone.
Yeah.
And, you know, his mic's not enabled somewhere. That's what I believe. He's saying it's enabled, but,
Oh, let me
you
stop
know.
this recording. Sorry.
yeah.